Welcome back. Today in our Sunday Spotlight, the Connecticut chef who recently was named Best Chef in the Northeast at the 2024 James Beard Awards. Executive Chef David Standridge of the Shipwright's Daughter restaurant in Mystic impressed the judges with his creative dishes made using unique, locally sourced and seasonal ingredients. You saw him there cooking, but here he is in Studio A. Welcome. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
You said you felt weird wearing the medal, but show us.
I
You
do,
brought
I do
the
have
medal.
It. It's right here. It's real.
I want you to explain first this award. Two restaurants made it as finalists in different categories for Mystic, and you came out on top. And, you know, Best Chef in the Northeast, we're talking Connecticut, Massachusetts, Maine, New Hampshire, Rhode Island, Vermont. Tons of awesome restaurants in that geographic area. You're number one. What does this mean?
It's called the Oscars of the food world for a reason. It's like kind of the highest honor you can get, certainly in this area where there's no Michelin stars. It means everything, honestly, for your career and for the restaurant. For me, especially if you're trying to do challenging things or interesting things, it's kind of that anointment that says, like, you're really good. What you're doing is actually good. And it really changes people's outlook of the restaurant. It makes our job so much easier. Have
you noticed a difference in the number of people clamoring for a table?
Definitely the number of people has tremendously increased all through the nominating process, but really, like after we won, it was a big wave, and just people being way more open to eating whatever we want to serve, and having less people being, you know, kind of.
We talked about it in the intro, but I looked at your menu before I came here, which first of all made me wicked hungry, but second of all, I noticed the word local about 10 times on the dinner menu. That's an important thing to you. Why?
Yeah, it's extremely important, especially for us. Local seafood. We're right on the water. The Connecticut seafood industry in particular is struggling at this time, and local small fishermen everywhere are struggling. So we really want to support them, and we want to make it really clear that the seafood that you're eating at Shipwright's Daughter, not only is it just from the Atlantic Ocean, it's landed within 10 or 15 miles of the restaurant, and we're really supporting the community.
When you decide what items are going to be on that menu, and you talked about, you know, taking some chances and doing unusual things, what are you thinking about? Like, you know, we've talked to authors, and they've thought about the person reading the book on the beach. What do you think about as you're designing that menu?
I mostly just think about what we can get our hands on. You know, we're trying to get stuff that's not easy to get, trying to get stuff only from certain kinds of people who are doing it the right way. And so we don't always know what's coming in the door. And so a lot of times we get a bucket of fish, essentially, with all these different things, and we're trying to figure out where it can fit on the menu and how we can make it all work and have enough variety and make people happy. So.
Did you have a feeling at some point, even before all the recognition, this is working? Is there something before all the accolades where you said, no, I think we're onto something here?
I think like a year or two ago, when we started getting some more, like, just the names started to be real. We opened in the middle of the pandemic, so the first year and a half, you know, we opened in 2020, were kind of really rough. And then once the state started recognizing us, we got a crazy award, it started to seem like the buzz started happening. We started to feel like we're on the right track, but we didn't really think James Beard was going to happen for us, but amazing honor.
Does it mean something to the whole, because you're not doing this alone, that whole kitchen staff, is it the kind of thing where they're maybe walking with a little spring in their step?
For sure. I think the whole team in general, you know, I was really clear too, as we were going through the nominating process with the front of the house, the servers, like, they're the front lines for us. They're the people who are telling them the story and the messaging to the guests to explain what we're doing and why it's special. So it's just so important for the whole team.
And that, you talk about the front of the house, the back of the house isn't in the spotlight very often.
It's true.
And so to be up here, you know, holding a medal on TV, and you were at the award ceremony, and you were in front of 1,000 people, is that a different experience for a chef?
For sure. I mean, I think for me, there's a tremendous amount of pressure being a chef. I've worked for some great chefs where it's a tremendous amount of pressure. Those guys are intimidating, and to be working, you know, with a guy standing right here who's staring at you for 8 hours, that's quite a bit of pressure. So I don't feel a lot of pressure in other environments, but, you know, we don't talk in front of large crowds very often, so that was a big deal.
What about what you would tell people about what you're doing? How do you describe it? I mean, obviously, you're holding the medal, for God's sakes, but how do you explain to them why they should come have a meal with you?
I mean, it's obviously we do a great job, but really what it's about is like the bounty of New England and the best things we can get out of New England. It's kind of a new New England cuisine. Everything is local and everything is extraordinarily fresh, and also it's the right things to eat. There's a responsibility there. As people think about, you know, and we talked about 2 nominees for Mystic, the food scene in southeastern Connecticut, wedged between New York, Boston, you know, Providence has some great restaurants.
But there's something special happening in that part of the world. Do you agree?
It really is. I mean, it's such an amazing town. There's so much to offer there. Like, we're in an amazing historic Inn, the Whalers Inn, which is like the best place to stay downtown. And there's great restaurants. It's such a concentration of talent in that little town that is just an amazing place to be.
Of course, you talked about how busy you've been since this happened. Maybe people are watching us from, from Torrington, and they're not going to run down for dinner. Is there some advice you'd give people as a James Beard Award winner, just picking a good restaurant in their area? What should they look for?
I think look for the products. Like, are they using the right things? Is it local? There's farms everywhere, all across Connecticut. It's not just in southeastern Connecticut. So I look for chefs who have the integrity and they're trying to get the best products in the door and then do the best things with them.
So what's next for you? We got about a minute left.
We're looking at a new restaurant next year and lots of events coming up in the fall.
Mystic again or somewhere else?
Mystic.
And can you give us some hints? What are you doing?
It's all top secret, but it's going to be great.
Top secret. So you'll come back and tell us about it when it happens.
Absolutely.
And you got some big events coming up in the fall. People can look for that at the Shipwright's Daughter.
Yeah. It's all on our website. We have events happening all over the fall.
And I told you, I looked at the menu just so I could see some of what you were making, and it all sounds fantastic.
Thank
so
you.
I'm going to get myself in the line and try to elbow my way to a
We'll
table.
see what we can do.
But no, really, it's a huge thing. I hope that people recognize what a big deal it is and are proud not only of you and the restaurant and the staff, but the whole area, because it's a big deal to have that. So thank you very much, David Standridge, for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
All right, that is CT24 for this week. CBS Sunday Morning, of course, is coming up next. Have a great rest of your weekend. Maybe go to a local restaurant and get a nice local meal here in Connecticut. We'll meet you back here in Studio A, of course, next Sunday morning.